This episode is brought to you by MYAVANA. MYAVANA is transforming the global hair care industry with a suite of products for customers, industry professionals, and retailers. MYAVANA helps to discover what products will work best for your crown, how to care for your crown with a plan and expert guidance. Consult with a hair care expert to find the best solution for your crown. Also for salons looking to transform and position their business for success. Companies that want real-time data and analytics on their target customer. Finally, for retailers looking to drive purchases across the products they offer. Visit myavana.com today. That's MYAVANA.com. Now, let's get into this episode. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. This is Jasmine. Again, we are back in the virtual hair quarters here at MYAVANA, the living room. We are grateful that you have come back another week to hear us. And I am super, super duper grateful, excited, all the wonderful things, because I have someone that I met, it's about 2 years ago. Either way, I have her now in our living room, and I want you to just give a round of applause. I can hear you clapping now. Just let it raise, let it rise for Lena Caldwell Wilson. Welcome, Lena.
Oh, hello, everybody. How are you?
Yes. So Lena is someone that I connected with through actually another guest speaker here, Iannica Smith. She is the co-founder or the founder of the Detroit Natural Hair Expo. So Lena is one of the vendors, and she was actually the sponsor for it last year. And she is an amazing businesswoman, as you will hear just in a few moments. So the reason why I wanted to bring her on, her company is called Rebellious Beauty. You'll get more details about that. But the reason why I'm so excited is that we're opening in the month of March, our My Entrepreneur Life. And March is Women's History Month. So the first week of Women's History Month is going to be our special guest, Rebellious Beauty, Lena Caldwell Wilson. And I just want to share with you, I usually read people's bios, and the reason why is because I want you to know what great person that we have before you today, who's going to share with us some great nuggets, gems, and wisdom of her experience and her expertise. So here we go. So she's an ambitious mother of 7, not 6, not 4, 7. And she's also known as the business beauty rebel, or #mother, as some also would call her. She teaches business classes showing new and seasoned entrepreneurs how to start, maintain, and build credit for their business in real life, not just social media. In real life, not social media. She educates people. Educating people has always been her passion, and she has dedicated the past 10 years to doing that, conducting live training classes, hosting workshops, hosting a business podcast, show on YouTube, and being a keynote speaker at various empowerment events in the Cleveland area and abroad. So she's from Ohio, y'all. So I'm Midwest, so I still claim her. I would claim her even if she wasn't. Lena Caldwell Wilson is also the creator of Rebellious Beauty LLC, which challenges people to try an alternative popular skincare brands being offered today. Lena, whose name has become synonymous with event vending in the largest stage, has traveled to every major city in the Midwest and East Coast promoting her business and managing profits of $30,000 in sales in 2019 and $50,000 in sales in 2020. And y'all all know we had the pandemic in 2020. Despite the crippling pandemic, she also was able to get those sales from simply vending. And in 2017, Rebellious Beauty was converted into a MLM, multi-level marketing company, recruiting 75 independent sales representatives in 5 different states to promote and sell the Rebellious Beauty brand with no major marketing and no major sponsorships. So you can see this woman is not only innovative, she's a leader, and she's a multiplier. Rebellious Beauty would go on to become the platinum sponsor to the Detroit Natural Hair Expo and Naomi Women of Distinction Conference. So we're going to have Lena share more about this. But one thing I'm going to ask you first, Lena, is can you share how Rebellious Beauty was born? That's a lot that you've done, but share it with us how it was actually born.
So, before I start with how Rebellious Beauty was born, I have to tell you the story of how the entire entrepreneurship journey. I am a 20-year vet for the federal government, civilian vet for the federal government, and I went through my first furlough in 2013. For those who don't know what a furlough is within the federal government, it's when it shuts down. And I found myself, I guess, jobless. From there, I said something has to shake. And I started my first business, which was party planning. And I developed that, I put it together, and it became very popular. Moving on, I went through a second furlough. And where I did have the first business to lean on, there was something else that I wanted to do. We did our first vending show. This is when I became more acquainted with vending. And I had a service. I didn't know how to sell a service, so I would add things to my table. I had always dabbled in things like skincare, shea butter, because of my own children and spouses' skin conditions, and things that we were buying in the store just was not working. So I just kind of came up with some stuff. I kind of gave it to a couple of friends at work, and then I decided to kind of switch off from the service part of my business to the product base in the vending shows. And then we kind of sold out, and it was just maybe like one or two products. And it was just a trial basis. I didn't know anything. People were like, this is really good. You ever thought about selling it, full time? And I'm like, no, I just kind of made it for a few people. And after we really, really started to get positive reviews on it, Rebellious Beauty was born. I really started to look into it more seriously. We thought of a name, we came up with a plan, and that is kind of how it was born. Almost by accident.
Saying, but a beautiful accident, or a beautiful intentional accident. I love it. Thank you so much. That was a unique and inspiring story of how it was born. So all of your products are vegan, organic, and natural. Why did you decide to go this specialty route with your products?
So I'm very old school, and I come from a family who did not use a lot of like store products, and that could be financially or whatever. But I grew up with a grandmother that said, if it's not in your kitchen, if it can't, what's in that kitchen can't solve it, then it just don't need to be solved. So I was pick the aloe vera plant off and put it on your skin. I was a lot of olive oil and coconut oil, things we had in the yard, put cucumbers on your eyes, lemon here, and, things there. So it only made sense to kind of, it's almost like reclaiming your time, reverting back to what you know. And us as melanated people, that's where we come from. We were not store people. We were not dwelling off to the stores we couldn't afford Elizabeth Arden and all these things that women were doing. So we made up stuff in our house, stuff for our hair, stuff for our skin. So when I went to put into and develop the line, the biggest thing for me was keeping it natural. And this was at a time, Rebellious Beauty was born in 2015. This was at a time where natural was kind of not in the forefront like it is now, where everybody's watching what they're eating and putting in their hair and coming off the chemicals. People were still in the height of relaxers and things of that nature. So it was challenging to start that and say, hey, there's no shelf life to this product, really. Like, not saying it's going to go bad right away, but it's really meant to be used. We don't do preservatives. We don't do all of those things that's clearly been breaking us out and making us sick for many, many years. So it's very important for me to make sure the product was as natural. The organic and vegan part, I learned a little later, but our products have no more than about 5 ingredients. Most of them are consumable. I tell people, don't eat it, but if it slides in your mouth, you won't die.
I love it. You will not die, y'all. So yeah, don't eat it, but you won't die if something happens. So I love it. Yes. So, and one thing I'm very intrigued, and I just really want you to share with us, this may be selfish for me, but one thing that I was really intrigued in just hearing your story of how you were able to, with your products, have 75 people start selling from a multi-level marketing perspective in 5 different states. That's not common for the average person who creates a product, because you not only created a product, for you to have 75 people helping you sell and distribute it, that in my mind, it just gets me to like asking and wanting to ask you so many questions, because one, the average business or businesses, they're not able to sustain themselves. But for you to be able to have 75 people who are selling your product, that's a lot of product that you're producing. And then you're developing people, and then 5 states. So tell us who you really are. Just share with us.
We decided when we started vending, we, like most people, well, now they're pop-up shops. Well, in 2015 and here in Ohio, there were no pop-up shops. There was no pop-up scene. There was no vending scene. The only thing that it was like flea markets and things like Amish country. They set up on Saturday morning and sell their product, almost like a swap meet. But that was no scene like how they are now with the hair shows and the expos and things like that. That didn't exist a long time ago, back in 2015, if that's considered a long time ago. We didn't know how we were going to sell this product. And we started the vending trail, not here in Ohio, which most people would probably do. We actually jumped in our car and went to Chicago. And because, again, it wasn't Cleveland. I love us dearly, but we can be about 3 or 4 years behind. So we jumped in our car. We went to Chicago. We did our first vending show. People at the show saw us sell out, like almost immediately. And people would approach me because they thought kind of I was an MLM company. And our packaging was so good and our things were set up like it was manufactured. And most people didn't even believe that I had done that myself. So when we would go to other cities, once again, people would approach us and ask us how they can sell our product. Like, are you in a store? Do you have a store? Are you hiring? Do you need? And I'm like, well, no, I don't have a store because I'm not from here. And I don't want to have employees because I don't want to keep up with that. My wonderful husband, who I've been married to for quite some time, he says 100 things to make sense. Here's one. He said, well, why don't you do like those Avon chicks? And I go, So,
come on, husband.
Like I said, he says 100 things to make sense. Here's the one. I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what goes into that. Me being the always want to learn person, got online. This is in the process of me having my very last son. I was on maternity leave actually, and I did some research and really looked into how to, I thought that was always something that was corporate based. So when I really looked into it, that you yourself can start one, I really did the homework. And while literally breastfeeding my last son, I sat and created contracts, a plan, marketing material, recipes, a YouTube channel for the reps. Like I put it all together before I even announced it. And as we started to travel to more cities, we do an average of between 11 to 15 cities a year. We started to almost pick up a rep in every city we visited at the vending show. So I didn't have any commercials. I didn't have any financial backing. I didn't have any marketing. This was literally word of mouth. And as we started to run our circle, I call it our vending circle. My husband and I pulled out a map. We put a pin in where Cleveland was. And then we literally drew a circle. And we've been running that circle for almost 8 years now. Until these cities that are in the perimeter of that circle, which includes, of course, Detroit. We just started to pick up reps in every city we visit. And next thing I know, we got about, 60 to it started off as like the first 10, and them people told some people, and these people told some people, and here we are, So we did that up into 2020. And I was very proud of it. Don't get me wrong, but 2020 was very different. But here's the thing. MLM is fine, and I did learn a lot from it. But because of who I am and how I like to run things, me having people be 25% of anything didn't sit right with my spirit. So I talked to my husband. I said, I don't think I want to do the MLM thing again. I said, here's what I would like to do. I would like to take all these people and convert them into sales reps. Into like business people, their own, not my rules, not, a lot of MLMs come with a lot of rules. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do, I didn't want that. That's ridiculous. So I am in the process of taking every person who is still willing to convert them into a business person. And that means I am going to help you get registered. I'm going to help you pick out a name. I'm going to help you pick out a logo. And you're going to continue to sell the same product you've been selling for me, but with your name and your rules and your price points. You're going to learn to be a business person. Because again, it didn't sit right with me for anybody to become 25, 35, or even 50% of any company. That is the difference with MLMs. That's your Mary Kay's, your Avons. You're only getting a percentage of the things that you sell. And these women are going hard for them, but you're only making 25%. So it is the same product. It's the same product you know and love. It's packaged differently, but it has your logo on it. And where if the product for myself is $20, you may want to sell it for $35, and that's your business. I'm okay with that because you've purchased it at a wholesale price and you are able to do what you want. You can rename it, you can relabel it, you can redo anything. I will give you the benefits of that product and the ingredients of that product and how to keep that product from spoiling and being bad, but it's primarily your product. It's no different than you going in a grocery store and you see Hershey's and Mr. Goodbar and all these different brands. You're just a manufacturer of someone else's product, which is fine, but it's the same product you've been using.
So you're doing a white label distributing system for your, wow. That's amazing. And I want to highlight this as we are in Women's History Month. And then again, as we're opening up the room, My Entrepreneur Life, because you said something, I want to bring it back to the people that you may have missed it. Lena was on maternity leave. You were on furlough, a pause from work, but you still were working your business. You were still working your creativity, your purpose. The rooms that we have available and open are My Purpose Driven Life, like My Healthy Life. You build a business around health. Like you said, you came from the train of thought where what you put on your face and your body, you want to make sure it's something that you can grab out of your kitchen. It's not something that's toxic or anything of that nature. So I'm really wanting to give you your flowers now, because I think sometimes we think, oh, well, I just did this little. And I'm not saying you said that. This was huge. And this is huge. And definitely, if somebody was interested in this process, are they past the limit because they weren't a sales rep with you? You know what I mean? Like if they were interested, tell more about that process, what your wholesale process then, or your wholesale program, your white label.
So what I did was, no, if you weren't a sales rep, no, it's definitely open to everyone. I do have a mentorship and some other things for people who are starting business. Like you said, I always say I teach business in real life and not Instagram life, because social media could be a very bad example of how business is ran.
Yes.
So what I did was I actually took, Rebellious Beauty is still going strong. What I did was created another company, my wholesale company, which is called Body Karma. And it's literally just Rebellious Beauty's wholesale company. Rebellious Beauty is the mother company of everything, but Body Karma is our wholesale. So on the Body Karma website, you can just buy a wholesale product. We will send it packaged. We will send it labeled if you want. We will send it just in large packaging, and you can do all the packaging and labeling for yourself. I'm also in the process of adding the mentorship part of it. Saying, hey, if you're new to this and you want to get started and you have no idea, here, take our mentorship. We will put you through the 3 or 6 month program to help you get started. And then at the end of it, you can make your first purchases for your business. You'll have a marketing strategy and you can go off. Grasshoppers, there's nothing else I can teach you. You should be successful.
Man, that's amazing. So we are going to have all of the information for Rebellious Beauty, and I want to say it correctly, is give me 1 second, is Business Beauty Rebel, and then
it's the wholesale Body Karma.
Body Karma. Thank you. Body Karma. We will have all of that in the description box, and we'll have connection to Lena. One thing I want you to share with people, you were a sponsor, platinum sponsor for the Detroit Natural Hair Expo, and then you have an event that you are a part of the planning committee, Naomi, Women of Distinct Connection Conference. I would like you to share with us about that, because I know you said it's sold out this year. That's one of the reasons why I want you to share with us. It's April of 2024. It's already sold out. This is it's almost March. And I want people to hear what this conference is about and just how it got started, because again, you have so much wealth and knowledge in you, and you have been doing the work, and who you are has informed what you do. And I want just to highlight that, and you to be able to highlight that, so people can have some inspiration, like they want to connect with somebody like you, a mentor like you. I love how you said it too. Like, what did you say? You cuss a lot. You
drink a lot of coffee and cuss a lot.
Drink a lot of coffee. Yes, yes. And I love that, because you're being yourself. You're being your genuine, authentic self. And that's what we are at here at MYAVANA. We're helping women awaken to their power within and be their best self. And you can't be that if you're trying to be somebody else. So absolutely. I really want you to just highlight that and just talk about that, so people can see when I say we are ordinary people who do extraordinary things. You are like the epitome of that. And you're an extraordinary person. And you didn't give yourself, you didn't minimize it. If it was seemingly ordinary, you put the extraordinary on it. So I'm going to give you the floor for that.
So like you said, I did become a sponsor of the Detroit Natural Hair Expo. I had been a vendor at the event for 5 years prior to it. I'm in Cleveland. Detroit's close, so that's an easy drive. I'm always there. Detroit was one of the better shows because I'm usually on the road for about 7 to 8 hours, so a 2-hour drive is always good.
Sure.
Right. So when Yannicka had mentioned that this was going to be the last one, I'm a big believer in just reaching out and connecting with people, total strangers. My grandmother used to always say, that girl knows no strangers, everybody's her friend, So when the crazy thing is, prior to this, last year's event with Detroit, I didn't even know who Yannicka was. I'd never met her. I'd always been at the show, but I'd never met her. And so happened her own table was close to mine. And her and I talked for a really good while. And I said, hey, I heard this is the last year. What can I do? Now, I'm just regular old me. What can I do to help you put this on? And she said, I don't know. Some things have changed. You understand, you're a seasoned vendor or whatever. And, she just didn't know at the time. But, my phone rang. She gave me a call. We talked for a really good while. And we were able to really do, put this thing back on. And I was really happy to do that because I have a really good following in Detroit. I always have a good time because you guys show up and show out for me. And I always appreciate that. I actually have sales reps in Detroit. So,
yes.
So that, doing the expos, and not just in Detroit, I'm a regular in Philly, New York. I have a huge following in New York City. I have a bigger following on the road than I do in Cleveland, which is funny, but that's I call it the LeBron effect. You have to leave and come back to be special. So I have big followings in all these cities, and I do all these major expos that now people expect us. Like if they see our name on the bill, they're coming to the expo to see us, and I really, that humbles me because you could have never told me 8 years ago that people would be coming from another city to see me. They would know my name. They would know my packaging. When we were in Detroit last year, the number of people who said, oh no, I brought my friend. I'm so glad you're here. Like they were looking for me in the room. And I that's amazing and humbling to me because again, I never thought that this bag of shea butter that I had in my closet would turn into this empire, I guess. So that's very humbling. The conference that you spoke on, and this has been my shift. I feel like Rebellious Beauty has grown up and it's been able to take care of itself. So I've been able to kind of get into a few other things. And as I explained to you, the conference, Naomi Women of Distinction, is a conference that I co-chair with Monica Grace, who is the founder of Naomi Women of Distinction. She's a really good friend of mine. She gave me a call and she said, hey, I have this idea. I really want to do a conference, but not just, hey, we're brunching, let's get some work done and resources and provide things to women. So her and I at Panera's, and she always gets me with coffee. I show up, I'm like, I show up to coffee. I don't care what's going on, okay? It could be, like Klan rally. I'm there if they got some coffee. Like, it's crazy. I will ignore everything going on. So yeah, come in. And we talked, and we were in, I think the Panera's almost had to throw us out because we were in there so long. And she told me what she wanted to do, and she had told me about the survey. There's a group here called Enlightened Solutions here in Cleveland who help women who have been harassed in the workplace, have had issues with healthcare, education, things like that. They presented a survey a couple years back, and the survey said that Pittsburgh, PA, was the worst city in America, lower 48, for Black women. They said it was the worst. And like I told you, Cleveland, we can't have that. We can't be outdone on anything. So Cleveland said, hold my beer. Here we are. It's actually us. So it turns out Cleveland is the worst place for Black women.
He said, hold my beer.
Like, outed. We can't be outed on anything. Like, what? You're worse than us. Please, hold on. Give me 2 days and let me show you how. So we actually were labeled the worst city in America for Black women. They're saying it's basically a dead end to be here. So Monica being an educator, that disturbs her completely. Okay. And we wanted to, bring this survey to light. But for the people who had taken the survey, we also wanted to provide resources for the things they had gone through that made them choose these selections that made us the worst city. Education. It's clear, for us to have one of the best colleges in the country, Cleveland State University has a wonderful law program. How many Black women are in it? Not many. So our educational system, our Cleveland Public Schools, which I'm a homeschool mom, I pulled my kids out of school. It's one of the worst. And our workforce, I work for the federal government, but we don't have a lot of federal offices here in Cleveland. The jobs are far and in between here. Our mortality rate, our suicide rate is up. Like, everything about Cleveland is going crazy, and we want to know why. So we wanted to get these women in the room, these young girls in the room. We have several nonprofits of young girls that target young girls as far as etiquette and entrepreneurship and things like that. So we wanted them in the room with these women. And we had so many entrepreneurs, from hairstylists to, we have a Black woman here who owns a chain of Chick-fil-A's, things like that. We wanted them to see, like, yes, we're being labeled all these things, but I'm not saying it's the greatest place, but you can make it here. You can absolutely make it here. And I'm the prime example of that. I am a young girl from 93rd and Edna who went to John Adams High School and got to, work retail. I work fast food and retail like everybody else. I got a wonderful job at the hospital, which led to the government, which led me to walk out and start my own business. You can make it, So Naomi last year, surprisingly, sold 350 tickets. We went from one day, not one ticket was sold, to one day we woke up and it was sold out. Just like that.
Wow. And congratulations.
Thank you. And this year we actually had to bring the number down because it was so overwhelming last year, but we still just, we sold out, and we dropped the tickets in January. By mid-February, they were sold out, and we still got 200 women to show up to this conference, with this year more sponsors than last year, because I tell everybody, until you're what I say Cleveland famous, nobody's going to help you until you don't need help. And that's exactly what's happening. Last year we did it with no money, no financial backing, not a thing. Monica, myself, and several volunteers kicked in, and we did everything, and it was amazing. And we didn't complain because it's not about the money. We wanted it to just be and have the resources out there. We've called out several people within the city, including our mayor, and say, hey, you promised us these things, these initiatives. What are you doing? What are you doing to help these Black girls and these women and our Black and brown sisters, not just Black women, Latinos, it's a lot going on here, So Naomi focuses on that. I'm excited about this year. Last year was a little stressful because it was our first one, but this one I am genuinely excited about. And we are already talking about 25. So, that's just one of the many things that that Rebellious Beauty has allowed me to do, and to be on these platforms and have people interested in my story and want me to speak, where, again, 8 years ago, it was just me bouncing the baby on my left boob saying, I think I'm going to start a business.
Yes. Virtual hair community. Do you see why we have Lena on today? Kicking off Women's History Month, the Entrepreneur Life Room. We want you to know that your life can be different. You just can choose that difference. It's not going to always be comfortable. It's not always going to be where you know everything that's going to happen. But if you take one step at a time, you can get there. So I want to put a bow around this. I am so grateful that we connected and our paths crossed. And I am going to be on your stool or your docket, whatever help, like I help Iamika, whatever help you need, I am definitely willing to assist and support. One thing I want you to share as we, come around this, the end of this interview and this episode, for the woman who thinks, well, that's because she, or they have an inner excuse, a self-esteem issue, please say something to them where if they were in your mentoring group, if they were in your mentoring program, where you would say to them what you would say, and then how they can, get past that limiting belief. So speak to them, speak to that person.
Okay. You've all been warned. Again, my whole thing is coffee and cuss words, and I live true. I am probably the most 100 person you could ever meet in your life. And if you know me, I am not the sugarcoater. I do not tap heads. I don't, caress. I am no Vaseline. And people appreciate that. So if you were in my mentoring group and you told me all these things and I can't do this because my answer would probably be miss me with that bullshit. So we are women, we are strong. And people always say, I can't do this because I'm shy and I'm this and I'm that. And then I tell them, I say, hey, do you have children? And most of them, 90% of them say yes. And I said, oh, okay, because the last time I checked, every person in there looked in your vagina and told you your baby was coming. Don't tell me you can't have a conversation with someone. Miss me with that. You're usually your own biggest critic, and it's nothing to be criticized about. Okay? You cannot be shy in this business. You have to be the most relentless, fearless, crazy person. Most of my ideals are ridiculous and crazy. And again, people appreciate the 100ness in me. I've never came off and said I'm the best at anything. I'm always very open and humble to people and tell them, hell, if I don't know, we'll find out together. But I guarantee by the next time we meet, I'll have an answer. But I'm never the person that pretends to be something she's not. Okay? And that's what I'll tell anybody. Just people appreciate you being authentically you. If you don't know, say hell, I don't know. If you do know, say hell, I do know. But be who you are. Don't try to make a plan to do it. It's never going to work. You're never going to know how to plan if you don't do it and mess up. You are going to fail, period. That's just business. And that's the part that I teach. People get on Instagram. It's a surefire strategy. BS. It's not. You're going to fail. Look at me. You're going to fail. But it's not a failure as in I quit. It's a failure in what is the lesson in this and what not to do the next time. That's the lesson here. And that's what I teach my mentees. They all appreciate me. And most of the time people are telling me their story and I'm looking like this. I got my eyes closed. I'm rolling my eyes. I'm rolling all around the chair. I say, you're driving me crazy. This is ridiculous. And then after that, they pretty much realize what they're doing wrong, which is nothing. You're just in your own way. We have to stop thinking things are supposed to be this way. I'm not a person when people say, oh, you deserve a seat at the table. The table. I bring my own table and sit in the middle of you. I don't need your table. I used to want to be a part of the circle, and then I realized I was the circle. And no one has to be in that circle, just me. And I'm absolutely happy with that. So don't try to always side yourself with these people and these circles and sit at these tables. Sometimes your table is fine, all by yourself. It's okay. Literally stay in your own lane.
Well, there you have it. This is coaching by Lena Caldwell Wilson and mentorship. So sometimes we have to hear it a different way. For those who have heard it in a way that made you comfortable, I hope you got a little bit uncomfortable so that you can grow. So here at MYAVANA, we do want to put you in a space where you can be comfortable and a safe space enough where we can push you out of your comfort zone so that you can keep growing, because that's what growing is all about. So we are here to help women awaken to their power within so that they can be their best self. And when you awaken to something, that means you disrupt the norm, right? So Lena, Lena, thank you so much for stopping by the living room today. I appreciate everything that you've shared with us. We will have your information to connect with you and share with us how can we connect with you before we wrap up.
Well, of course, you can reach me. If anybody's on Facebook, you can look me up at Lena Nicole. Sorry, it's kind of long because my other page got hacked, so I had to kind of finagle the name. But it'll be Lena, Lena, Nicole, NYCCOLE, Caldwell Wilson. And then you can always go to my website, rebelliousbeautyllc.com. I'm also on Instagram at @1 rebellious_beauty. And then you can also follow my business, Beauty Rebel 216, all one word, on Instagram. And the website for that is linktree/Beauty Rebel brand. And then, of course, bodykarmawholesale.com. And all the sites have each other's site, and you can click them and go off and do wonderful things and discover stuff.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all that. And again, we'll have that in the description box. Thank you for coming. And we are going to be opening up my entrepreneur room in our app. So please download the app and get into the room so that we can continue to build a community. And as Mrs. Caldwell Wilson has come and shared with us today, be a rebellious beauty. Sometimes you got to go against the grain, but you got to be who you were meant and called to be. So thank you so much for stopping by the living room today in our virtual headquarters. We'll have another wonderful guest. Thank you again, Lena, for coming on, and we'll see y'all later.